This is a new one for me. This is a Shimano. I've heard about Shimanos but never crossed paths as yet. Nothing on the gauge. There's the output ports. Must be this one here. Two, looks like 4 terminals. There's probably no voltage on this, but let's have a look. Zero, nada, zilch. pt-e8010, 36 volts, 14 amp hours, lithium ion. I was wondering how this was supposed to open. So I've taken these 2 big screws out of there. These are caps to hide screws. That's all. Hidden screw at the bottom. And the insides. I've already told the customer this is going to be tamper proof. Look at that. There's a nasty processor on top. It looks in really good condition. It's only about 18 months old. Just a pity that it doesn't work anymore. But why doesn't it work? I spent a few minutes here prodding and probing, as I'm wont to do. Just looking for voltages on these cells, looking for anything that's dead. They all seem to have they were 2.9 volts. No, my meter says they're 3, but the point being that there's no dead cells in there. I've been supplied with 2 chargers for this. One which Ben, the customer, says does work, which is this one, and one that doesn't. It's a strange plug. Go. If you can't see that, that's flashing yellow. Though it looks green on the camera, it's flashing yellow, golden yellow. What does that mean? It was flashing yellow, now it's stopped. Nothing at all, so assuming flashing yellow means error. I've connected my boost converter to the battery. Positive and negative, extreme ends. I'll set this to 42 volts, 1 amp. Let's see if something pops. It's taking charge. It's going in. Currently 29 volts, 29.7. Let's see if we can get up to 30 something. So this is now charging without the consent of the BMS. So just charging cells direct. There's no dead cells in there. They're all on about the same voltage, so no real risk here. Famous last words. That's come up to 33 British volts. That's as opposed to the Italian volts, of course. Now that the cells are up to about 3.3 volts each, this should charge. That is, unless the BMS has bricked itself. That is, locked itself up. They may say that once you've gone under 2.9 volts per cell, you've had it, pal. But let's try. Oh, it's still flashing yellow. So BMS says no, is it? Sklabath. Just have a look at the second charger that Ben bought in. This is the damaged one. Yeah, it's a mess of wires. But I've hooked up a new charger, 36 lithium ion, up to this. Hooked up, I say, it's jerry rigged, just in case the original charger was faulty. It's worth a try. There's a light on that one, so 2 wires going to there. And if this doesn't charge, then the BMS is locked up. Nope, not accepting charge. Shitholes. Not even the battery gauge works on 30 plus volts. BMS has decided no go. Now I could, of course, put a new BMS on this, but that wouldn't help in this case. Can you see those thin wires on there? There's one there marked RX, and I suppose the yellow one is the TX. And there's also, come on, focus. There's also 5 wires coming off this little connector into the output, so it's going to be communicating with the controller. Someone somewhere would be able to fix this, but it's going to need a level of knowledge that far exceeds mine. Maybe some Shimano tech would be able to tell you how to reset this BMS. So with the heavy stench of failure in the air, I think I'll leave it. If somebody knows how to fix these, please let us know and share with us. And no kebab for me today. Don't deserve it. I'm not sure if I'm onto something here, or whether this is another false stone. Right in front of you there, come on. It's a fuse, 30 amp fuse. And I've scraped all this goop off. That one. I don't know what its pin outs are, but I can't get continuity in it. I don't know. See, that would stop discharging, certainly 30 amp fuse. Would that stop it charging as well? I've established that this fuse was open, and I bypassed it with a thermal fuse, a resetting fuse. But this is no ordinary fuse, this is a triggering fuse. You can look that up. I'm not going to try and diagnose the faults in this BMS, because it's now software locked, but I may have found a workaround. I would look at the forums, etc. EMTB in particular, there's a contributor on there who suggested the workaround, and he or she suggested that this BMS, which is obviously made up of many circuits, which is the discharge circuit and charge circuit, but it's also the communication circuit. You see yellow and blue wires in the corner there, and he or she suggested that the communications would still work even though this was locked. So I'm going to try and bypass the BMS. I've now bypassed that BMS on a 14 gauge cable, going from the positive of the battery to the output port. That means I should have 32 volts on the output. By bypassing this BMS thusly, it means that I have no under voltage control. It means that the rider will have to depend on the performance of the bike to stop using it when the voltage of the pack goes low, because the BMS can no longer do that. Seeing as this BMS won't charge either, I've decided to add another BMS. I've got a couple here, but think this one's going to be too big. This one may well fit. It's a scooter, but it's from a skateboard. May be able to put it there. Get rid of these little bits of plastic here, supposedly holding the BMS in place, but that's already got 3 screws to hold in place. So if I could get rid of those, I could put that in there. Whether it will fit is another matter. I've attached a new balance wire to all these cells, front and back. Now if you're doing this, it's important for you to get it right, otherwise you'll blow your BMS up. That's the voltage level of each cell group. Anything wrong there? No, it's all fine. I have the new stroke old BMS wired up here. It's a thermal fuse on the charging side. Shall we? Charge, you bugger. Phew. That's charged up to 37 volts, that's okay. I don't want to charge up to full, in case this doesn't work and the fully charged cells be sitting in somebody's garage for years. Best just have it as a storage charge. I've also put some tape on to further insulate the wires in case of shorts. One bad thing, one negative, is that the fuel gauge obviously doesn't work because it's controlled by the BMS. That's a small price to pay if everything else works. Now we need to put this back together. Now that's something that's changed from being a 400-pound paperweight into being a usable battery. Now that's back together and it's giving me an output voltage. The only thing I can do now is to try it on the bike. See if it works, yay or nay. The gauge don't work because that's part of the things that doesn't work on it.
Okay. No display.
Yeah, just try it just to see if it actually works.
Okay. Oh, whether it actually.
Yeah. Go on, have a spin. Does it? Fantastic.
Miracle.
No, it's not a miracle. It's called half fixing things. Yeah. So that works. The
Fair play. So
that display's come on.
yeah, display comes on. Well, this alone is pretty impressive.
This alone is something that nobody's done.
No.
Nobody's ever been able to do
That's
these.
the impression I get.
Apparently. And if you found that useful or interesting, feel free to leave me a comment, thumbs up, thumbs down, and a kebab? That's not what I meant. Sheesh. Dog turd.